I didn't really grow up loving my skin tone. I'm plus size and dark skin. I get a lot of hate. Women that are dark skin, we shouldn't normalize the hate we receive, and we shouldn't have thicker skin.
Today I'm interviewing Sophi St. Also known as OkaySophi, a model and content creator known for sharing her amazing makeup looks on social media. So stay tuned to hear all about her journey into the beauty and fashion industries and how she uses her platform for inclusivity. Hello, Miss Sophi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Okay,
nervous.
good. Oh my God, don't be nervous. I'm so happy that you're here. You look amazing. I'm so excited to talk with you today, looking fabulous as always. Makeup is always tea. You are very, very talented, truly, which is why I was shocked to hear that you weren't really allowed to wear makeup growing up. So how did you even get into this world of makeup and beauty, and how did you start in the first place?
I started by stealing my mom makeup. Like, my mom didn't like, I feel like growing up in a Caribbean household, they don't like you wearing makeup for real. And like with my mom, I'm like, okay, you wear makeup, so I'm gonna steal this makeup, but the makeup didn't match me. So it's like, I used to wear like foundation shades that was like 10 times lighter than me, and it looked crazy. So I'm like, okay, let me invest in my own makeup. Like, sorry.
No, you're good.
But I couldn't find foundation that was my skin tone, so I was like, okay, this is a problem, but I still wore it because I'm like, I want to look cute.
Yeah.
I look crazy though, but yeah.
I feel like a lot of us have been through that, and I definitely want to get into that later, but can you run me through just the experience of like going viral for the first time online? Like, how did it happen and how did it feel?
Honestly, I think the first video I did that went viral was like, I did a foundation review, and I was trying to see like, oh, does a shade match me and stuff like that, like their darkest shade, and it didn't. And it felt like, I don't know, it felt like good. I'm like, oh wow, people actually like my videos. This is kind of intriguing, so let me keep going. So yeah, it was like good. It was a nice feeling.
Yeah, of course, because it's like people are liking you for just doing what you would have done anyways, right? I know that once this happened, you decided to take a gap year before starting college. So was that kind of a scary decision for you to make? And how do you feel about making that decision now?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still not gap year. Well, it's not even a gap year anymore, but it was very scary because, first of all, like your parents don't want you taking a gap year. My mom wants me to be a doctor, and I'm not. So it was kind of nerve wracking because like, am I supposed to be doing this? Like, or should I like just go to school and just like, study things I don't want to do? So I'm like, okay, let's give this a try. And I'm happy I did it though, because like now I'm like doing so many things I never thought I would be doing right now.
Exactly, yeah. Sometimes you have to take that risk, like despite what your parents say, and clearly it has worked out for you. So one of the things that you're known for is advocating for shade inclusivity on your TikTok and your Instagram. You did an interview with Vogue a few years ago, and you literally said, this is 2021. People shouldn't still have to struggle with finding their foundation shade. It is now 2024, and we're still dealing with that, most recently with that euphoria disaster. So how does that make you feel with your contributions to the beauty industry? Like, do you feel like things have improved at all?
As of right now, I feel like it did improve because I feel like as soon as Fenty released, like Rihanna did her thing, because now like companies are actually like pushing for like to be inclusive, to have shades for other women. But it's like at the same time, I realize now I'm done focusing on companies that don't want to create it for people, for everyone. It's like as a company, especially the makeup brand, you have to be inclusive. If you're not inclusive, then what are you doing? And with Euphoria, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not shocked with them because like I think a lot of companies, they're tired of people complaining, and with Euphoria, they just like say, here, this is your shade. But at the end of the day, it's like a foundation that's black, that's not meant for anyone. It's kind of disrespectful. So it's like, I think it's just better now just not to focus on other people that don't want to create it for others.
That's interesting because, usually what you'll do is you'll try the foundation on, right? To show whether or not it actually works for darker skin tones. But with the Euphoria situation, you deliberately chose not to try the foundation. Why did you make that decision?
Because like, I feel like it's just a waste of time. Like, I don't want to like give them that press or like give them anything because they don't deserve that. Like, there's companies that do have shades for women that's my skin tone, so might as well push for those companies, like, y'all, here's foundation that do greater for us. Because Euphoria, what they did is disrespectful, because, like, it's straight black, like, pink face. Like, why are you pushing for this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, there are also people who will like go and say, like, why do you even focus on these brands that aren't shade inclusive, and like we shouldn't even strive to make all brands shade inclusive, especially like a brand like Euphoria. It's a Korean skincare brand. So some people will be like, well, why do you even care if, you know, you're not their target audience? How do you feel about comments like that? Because I feel like all brands should at least try to be inclusive.
I feel like all brands should be inclusive, but, like, I do understand why they say that, but at the same time, it's like, I think in this world, we have to understand we have to create it for everyone, but it's like some companies are hard-headed. They're not going to do it. So it's like, I feel like some companies do things on purpose just to make others mad. So it's like, in a sense, it's like, okay, let's not focus on them. Let's focus on people that are pushing for us.
It makes me sad that at this point, it's honestly become like a universal experience for Black girls to have trouble finding their shade, like their foundation shade. I feel like that's just something that we've all gone through. But what actually led you to start making content about this and to start calling brands out and holding them accountable? Because that is a pretty intimidating endeavor.
Growing up, my mom, you know, like, I feel like growing up in a Caribbean household, my parents are kind of colorist. So for me, I didn't really grow up loving my skin tone. So later on, like, especially with foundation, I was using foundation that was lighter than me, and it was my mom's foundation.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, okay, why don't I like myself? This is actually really bad. And it's like, I know there's probably other people around me that feel the same way. And I was really into, like, beauty and, like, makeup. And I'm like, actually, let me find foundations for my skin tone. Let me, like, actually start appreciating myself. And I realized there weren't a lot of companies that have stuff for me. So I'm like, let me, like, do a little series and see, like, okay, what fits me and what doesn't. And maybe this will help other people around me too.
As a creator, I know you've also had to deal with your fair share of negativity and criticism, of course, which just comes with the territory when you're advocating for change. But if you're comfortable sharing, can you share any experiences of, you know, backlash that you've had to face, or just challenges that you faced in your journey overall, and kind of how you've dealt with it?
For how I look, like, as me, I'm plus size and dark skin. I get a lot of hate online, especially me doing, like, really bold and bright makeup looks. People hate that. They
People
feel like,
hate that.
yeah, they hate seeing a dark skinned woman, like, do things, like, getting out the box they put us in. They want us to remain the same person. And it's, like, kind of weird. So I get a lot of hate, especially on Twitter. Like, I got attacked by French Twitter.
Twitter is such a negative place.
It is. And, like, you know, Instagram Reels, you know, the comments kind of low. So I get ate up a lot.
Instagram Reels is actually a crazy place. It's even worse than Twitter.
Oh my God, you're right.
Like, what is wrong with people on Instagram?
Honestly, but it's like, it comes to a point, it's like, I'm kind of used to it, because, like, growing up, like, I used to get some of those commentaries from my parents, because, like I said, like, they're kind of colorist, like, because, you know, they grew up in a whole different environment. Like, they were like, okay, girl, like, you're a little too dark. You need to bleach your skin. I'm like, okay, hold on. That's not good. So
what?
Yeah, and also being in Florida.
I'm so sorry.
I'm fine with it. I think it's like accepting, like, things that happen is like, and you just keep moving forward.
And you know what you were about to say about living in Florida, because I grew up in Florida too, and I know all about that. Like,
yeah,
the colorism is rampant in Florida.
It's real bad. Because, like, in Florida, it kind of taught me to be, like, a little tough, but I know others around me are not that tough. Because the amount of hate I get is, like, very unhealthy, and I'm like, okay, I just go about my days. Like, there's not much you can do anymore now.
Yeah.
It's like, as long as you allow this to, like, keep breaking, like, I guess it helps me keep moving forward, because, like, at the end of the day, like, y'all saying this, but I'm inspiring other people to do what they want to do.
For sure. Going hand in hand with that, I feel like it's very easy to fall into perfectionism when you are a creative who's also in the public eye, right? And it's natural to want to present the best version of yourself at all times. And I know you're also a Virgo like me, so I know that perfectionism eats you up just like it does me. So how do you deal with that?
I'm still dealing with that right now, because it's like, especially being online, it's hard for me to, like, I don't know, not, like, I want everything to be perfect. Everything, like, my makeup or the way I speak or, like, all that stuff, because, like, I get really anxious, because I'm like, dang, like, they're going, like, I'm getting perceived, I'm getting judged, I hate this.
Yeah.
Because even right now, I'm like, oh my God, I've been stuttering, I hate it.
No. First of all, you haven't. And you know what? That's what we really need to realize is us perfectionists is like the things that we are paying attention to about ourselves, nobody else is paying attention to that. Like, I have not noticed you stutter once. Like,
Yeah. It's
literally.
like, I think like one thing I realized, like, as we are all humans and we all make mistakes, and the things that we're focusing on, not everyone's not focused on it.
Exactly.
So it's like,
Yeah, and for me, I feel like with perfectionism, something that's helped me is like really being introspective and kind of trying to figure out like what is the root of like why do I want to be perfect? And a lot of the times it stems from just fear and the need to please others. So I feel like once you really get down to the root of that and you just think logically, especially as Virgos again, like if you are really analytical with yourself, you can get past that and you can get out of your head. And I feel like that helps me.
Yeah.
So I want to get into your modeling career a little bit as well because you and I are actually signed to the same agency. Shout out Yoni Models.
Love her.
We love her. So how did you get into modeling, and was it before you started content creation or after?
Honestly, I've been doing content creation since I was like a kid. So I think like with modeling, I started when I was like 18, and my first shoot was literally my 10 magazine shoot, which is like very crazy because
I love that shoot, by the way. But what? That was your first?
Yeah, and
wow.
It was like actually so crazy and like really bad because I came in there, I'm like, oh my god, like this is so nerve wracking. The building had no AC. I was nervous, so I started sweating like crazy. I sweat off my lace. I sweat like it was so bad, and like honestly, just the fact that was my first shoot, I was like, wow, like this is so crazy. And like I think like a year later, Yanni kept reaching out to me to like sign me, and I'm like, oh, I'm scared. I don't want to be signed by no one. And then a couple months later, I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to be signed with you. And then I got a Marshall commercial right after, and where they flew me out to South Africa to do a whole campaign that's about me, like just talking about the hate comments I receive, and like how I just like don't allow that to affect me. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually really enjoying this. Like, I really like, I would have never thought I'd actually become a model, to be honest, because, you know, obviously I'm plus size and also dark skinned. And like, I know like some people have a certain look to them to be a model. And I kind of like, I'm not that look.
You felt like you didn't have it, but you have, you know what, modeling is all about being unique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like someone that you haven't seen before, I think you have a unique and a beautiful look. So the fact that you even thought that you couldn't be a model is crazy to me, but obviously, you know, looking at you now and like thinking about you when you were a child, it's your thoughts. We didn't know what you were thinking at the time.
Yeah, I feel like growing up, like that kind of like really like taught me like, dang, you can really do anything you put your mind into. So like my whole modeling journey, I'm like, wow, I'm a model now. This is so cool. And it's like, even now I'm still learning and still growing. And I feel like, I know a lot of people that DM me like, oh, how are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I'm just doing it.
Yeah, it's like, I really say like, I can say like, I have really good luck. Because right now it's like, I didn't really had to do the things that other models have to do to become, like, get to the modeling industry. And I'm like very happy and like lucky about that.
I like that because a lot of people don't like to attribute their success to luck when a lot of the time that is the determining factor. Like sometimes you're either lucky or you're not. That's not to say that hard work doesn't get you to the same place, but luck is real. And you know, like if you're lucky, take it and run with it. Do you prefer content creation or modeling?
Okay, content creation, I like it, but I hate the commentary. Like, because obviously you're always gonna get hate. Like that aspect, I don't like it. But I like just like being able to be creative and everything like that. Modeling, okay, it's fun. But it's like, I would say like being on set sometimes you could tell where certain people don't want you to be there. And I have experienced that. Or like sometimes like when I'm on set, like they don't have my foundation shade, or like it's just like always a weird situation that always happen. And I'm like, okay, maybe, I think I like content creation more than because like I don't know, both aspects has their pros and cons, but like
you'd rather deal with the cons of social media.
Yeah.
I get that. I think the two go hand in hand. But what I hear from a lot of people who do both is that social media just pays better.
They do. I think with modeling, they don't really pay a lot of people unless you're a big model, which is like disappointing. But social media, they pay you your rate. They like actually show like, you know, this is what your worth is. But modeling is like, okay, we're gonna give you like 500. I'm like, wait a minute.
It's like what? Yeah.
That's not paying bills.
Yeah. For sure. And I think there's just a lot more room for growth and like space in the industry when it comes to social media. And it's also a great gateway into other opportunities like entrepreneurship, for example. I know that you also own your own business. I would love to hear more about that.
Okay, so when I was like, I think like 14, 15,
Yeah.
I started my own clothing company. And it was because my parents wouldn't give me money, so I'm like, I'm gonna make my money. And also, I wanted to prove, like, okay, like, people my age could do anything they put their mind into. So I started my little company. I kind of, like, stopped in 2020 because, like, I had to lock in for school, and I had to, like, COVID time. Like, it was really bad. So I'm like, okay. So it was, like, basically, like, a clothing company where I wanted to just, our society styles. It's just, like, I don't know.
Is it something that you're still pursuing now, or is it something that you kind of have let go?
No, I stopped.
Okay.
I wanted to continue it, but I was like, no.
Yeah. No, and that's fine. Like you switched lanes. Like you're not
Yeah.
14 anymore. I just, for some reason, I thought that you were still doing it. But either way, I feel like social media gives people a gateway into so many different opportunities. Like look at the way it led you into your modeling career. And I don't know, I just feel like there's so much room for growth and there's so many opportunities that can come from it. So is there anything that in the future you hope that social media can lead you to?
I want to grow. Like, I hope social media be. I'm trying to think. Like, I want to like do a lot of things. Like, have my own like company.
Yes.
I also want to have my own management where I could like help others that do look like me to grow their own platform or like grow like in modeling or something like that. What else? Also, I want to like do a little like channel with my friend because like I don't know, I have like a lot of goals. So it's like in the future I just hope I know for a fact I will accomplish that because I feel like I don't know, that's kind of hard.
I believe it. I always ask this to each of my guests at the end of the interview, and it's what advice do you have for anybody who wants to enter the beauty or the fashion industries or get into social media and content creation?
To not give up. Like, obviously when you first start, the views are not going to be there, but it's like you have to be consistent with it. You have to keep being you and do not allow other opinion to stop you from doing what you want to do. Because I feel like a lot of people is going to say a lot of things that you don't like. It's like, it's like all about like how you take it. It's like if you want to stop just because they say, oh, this is terrible, then it's like,
then it's maybe not for you.
Yeah.
But you're right, you can build thick skin also.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know, not to bring it back to colorism, but I do think that when you're dark skinned, you build a lot of thick skin to the point where like you've kind of been hearing things your whole life. So not to say that, people who haven't gone through something can't be content creators, but I think it helps to have an extra layer of skin when you're getting into this.
It's unhealthy though, because like some things that's not like, some things we're used to is not like we shouldn't be used to that.
It's not normal, yeah.
Because like, okay, like someone called me burnt. Okay, that's not, and it's really okay.
I got called that.
Yeah, it's like we shouldn't
it's not
be
even
used
funny.
Yeah, because like stuff like that, I'm a giggle about it, but it's like that's not something we should be laughing
about. And at
the
time, it wasn't funny.
I feel like women that are dark skinned, we shouldn't normalize the hate we receive, and we shouldn't have thicker skin. Like, it's not healthy because I feel like everyone, like, white people don't got to deal with that. They're not going to be, like, complaining about, like, hate they get because the hate, like, black women receive is not good. It's, like, it's kind of dehumanizing a little bit. So it's, like...
It is dehumanizing, 100%. And it's, like, it's different. I don't like when people try to compare, insults because our insults have that extra layer of history in them. So it's like, it's not the same thing.
And it's like they're hating on something that you cannot change. And that's why a lot of women that are darker kind of like decide, like, let me bleach myself or let me change myself. Because I realize now, like, a lot of black women are like doing surgery or like changing their skin tone. And it's like so sad because it's like, dang, they're losing, like, they're not loving themselves anymore. And it's because of people online. And it's like, oh, that's sad.
I know. It is sad. But listen, with your content, you're changing that. And I think just by being who you are and doing what you do, you're changing that. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's really cool that just being who you are can have such a strong effect on people. And I love that. I really love everything that you do, and keep doing what you're doing. I really appreciate all of your insight. Not only that, but I appreciate you just coming in and sharing your story as well and being vulnerable with us. Make sure to check out OkaySophi on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and stay tuned for another episode of How She Did It.
I don't know if I'm supposed to look at the camera.
Yeah.